Sorry.
Oh, good,
I'm
bro.
so
Nah,
bad.
bro, I'm horrible.
Should we leave that in? Yeah. You don't even know the name of the
Fucking
guest.
Victor, after talking to me for 2 hours, too.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
You're obsessed with calling him
Bro,
Vincent.
you confused yourself now. Like, he's confused himself. Now he's like,
Hey guys, welcome to our first podcast all about all things AI. I'm Verity. I'm a writer and I'm using AI to help me develop my next book into a film using AI. And I also have some AI artwork I'm going to sell and an AI course which is coming soon. And this is Joey.
Yeah, I'm Joey Bann. I am just stepping into the AI space. I create AI artwork and I also use AI into my businesses to make them more efficient.
Now we have our first guest, Victor, who has created a really interesting AI project. He was a lawyer in Australia and now he's pivoted into the AI space, and we're really excited to have him here to hopefully talk about like a really, really interesting use case with AI.
yeah, super keen, lads, and let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. It's really funny actually because we were just talking off camera earlier because we had some technical difficulties, but you said that you know your shit, and you're right. You do know your shit. I can
Relative.
Yeah, no. But
Relative
you're on
to
the
your
right path.
average, you know.
But for me, like, it's really funny because if I compare like my knowledge base and what I know in comparison to you and you as well, because Harry's the reason why I got into the AI world. Like, Harry would talk to me about AI. And
He's your
like,
dealer. He gave
he
you.
got your book.
He gave you.
I
Once you
know
got
how
AI,
he-
you can't go back.
He started breadcrumbing me like this. He was like, try ChatGPT and then try this.
always
And I
how
was
it starts.
like,
It always
no.
starts
Every
with
time I
ChatGPT.
would meet him for coffee, I'd be like, oh, by the way, this like whole
Yeah,
thing
you know you
is-
would.
Yeah.
I used to just sit there for a good 10 minutes whilst he was explaining like the new AI software, and I just used to be like, what? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Are you kidding? Like, it doesn't even sound real before.
No, it doesn't. No. But the thing is, for me, it's like so my background's more. I don't even know what my background is. It's more like influencer marketing, like boring business, very sort of away from like the AI and tech world. I mean, I love my Apple product. I used to work for Apple, so I kind of know a little bit about technology, but
Waiting for Apple to release their
I'm
AI.
so
what are
waiting
they
for
gonna
Apple
do,
to release.
right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, for me, it's like I'm really glad that I'm venturing into this space because I feel like I'm like you at the start of your journey. It's like I do want to learn Python, and when you said it, I'm like, yeah, actually that's a really good idea because I need to learn that to be able to implement it in what I'm doing and stuff. But for me, what's really cool is I kind of want to try, especially on this podcast and through like sort of different marketing channels, is basically show people that you don't have to be completely complex to get into AI.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of the AI community in Bali. It's very complex stuff, and there's stuff where
Super technical guys, right?
Super technical guys,
Yeah.
and it's incredible. But I'll sit there and I'm like, I have no idea what
And I
to
think
do.
that's,
Like,
what, I
no
think that's
idea.
what we're trying to do with this podcast,
Yeah.
really, with this YouTube channel, is we are trying to bridge the gap between this very,
You
very
can
technical
simplify.
stuff
You-
and then show people like this is literally how you can use it in your everyday
Yeah,
life.
and there's
You-
nothing
yeah,
stopping people
you-
from learning the shit either,
Yeah.
right?
And, and the thing is as well, it's like everyone has to start somewhere. We started somewhere. So
Yeah.
it's like by giving people this just fundamental to learn the basic steps of AI, whether it's you're a small business in the UK or Australia, get AI to make you a follow-up email or get AI to write you a description page for your landing page.
Yeah.
Like, just like start from that and then become a bit more confident. I mean, one of the things, my business partner, he made chatbots before ChatGPT, and he's basically learning how to incorporate it into new chatbots.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically gave me a full-on like script. He's in the AI space and he really enjoys it, and he gave me a full like manuscript of a discussion he had with ChatGPT to basically like give me a name for a business, give me the colours, and it gave him the exact codes of colours for his website and stuff. And what he did was he really very much, I don't know if you find, but like ChatGPT can sometimes wander off a little bit.
Yeah,
and
it can.
Yeah, and he very much sort of kept it sort of very much sort of where he wanted it. And it was a really long document, but it just I read it and I was like, if you know what you're doing, or if you start getting into it, you will very quickly realize there's so many capabilities from AI, even just from ChatGPT to making software like yourself.
It's infinite. It's infinite. But that's why you sort of need to understand like just getting into like the programming mindset. But as you said, bro, I'm a lawyer. I didn't do. I stopped doing maths in year 10. I'm Australian. I'm a dumb Aussie. Like I just wanted to like get the highest ATAR while doing the least work. In year 12, I literally did history, English, Polish as a second language, being born in Poland, and some other bullshit subject, right? Like I haven't done anything technical my whole life, and I was able to pick it up because if you want it. But I think what it comes down to is like if you just go and like, especially me with ADHD, like it's a superpower. I honestly think it's a superpower because it forces me to sort of, it's like dyslexia, right? Like it forces me to think a little differently. Like I cannot just sit down.
You were born to think outside the box.
Exactly.
This is what I was going to bring us on to, is that it seems to me that the difference between now, it's not necessarily between people who are programmers and people who are not, or people who are into AI and people who are not. It's the difference between people who are innovators and people who are prepared to think outside the box. How do I use this new technology?
Well, for example, like you're innovating the writer space. Essentially, like you're making like you get illustrations done by AI, and then you use another AI software to bring them to life, and then you use another AI software to make the captions for the videos, and then you're making then you use another AI software. And it's like,
and we're gonna use AI software
to
enhance this video.
But it's like it's amazing because it's like this is a true example of how 3 different people are in different ways utilizing AI.
Non-technical people. None of us went to like computer science. Like we are not the and that is what AI is.
I think it just comes down to like, I think the only thing you really need to do to learn AI is just step out of your comfort zone a little bit. And I mean, you step out your comfort zone when you leave your country. You step out of comfort zone when you go and travel. You step out your comfort zone, I don't know, when you date someone. How can you not step out of your comfort zone to learn a bit about AI or play around with ChatGPT?
And let's just hold on that thought for a moment, because I think it is important. Because I see a lot of pushback against using AI, because as we were talking, how the legal side of things, the legal industry is so conservative. In the writing industry, which I see, there is almost a taboo about using ChatGPT to write. There are some people that are like, oh, if you use this, you're just copying. If you use this, we're going to ban you. You're cheating. Well, you're not if you use it in the right way. If you use it to write a first draft and then you yourself look over the first draft, if you use it to edit it, if you use a very specific prompt and you say, I want you to act as, say, a writer for this specific type of blog that I'm writing for this client, and I want you to use this tone of voice, X, Y, Z. You use it to produce the first draft. That shouldn't be taboo. You shouldn't be attacking those people and saying, okay, we're now going to run it through, say, some kind of software to find out if it's been written by AI. What does it matter? The fact that you've used these tools to your advantage.
How do you know J.K. Rowling wasn't an AI? Like,
Exactly.
how do we know? How do we know J.K. Rowling's not an AI?
Exactly, right?
But obviously a joke, but
But at the same time, though, it's like you've hit a really good point, because, and it was very much similar to what you were saying earlier. It's like you just use. It's like it comes back to the theory of it's all gonna take our jobs and there'll be nothing for us to do. But in reality, the best way to use AI is to incorporate it into your life and what you do and work together with it.
Yes.
Rather than getting AI just to do it.
Find something. Find
something.
something.
And that's what you do. When you're with the writing and stuff, like.
Find a use case that excites you, and that's what I was saying with the ADHD. Like, I can't sit down and do a course. Like, I need to find a practical. I need to do. Like, I can learn I can learn really well, but if you put me in front of a university course, I'm out. 1 minute, like I'm gone. Like I'm not taking anything.
Do you have ADHD?
I don't. No, well, not that I know of. No.
Because I have ADHD.
I feel like the odd one out now. Maybe I do. Maybe I should.
You look at
just say yeah.
You look at entrepreneurs like successful people like, man, dyslexia, ADHD, like.
I'm convinced all of my entrepreneur friends are autistic in some way, shape.
We're all on the spectrum. That's all.
I did hear this thought from somebody and it really resonated with me. It said we all have ADHD today because look at smartphones.
Yeah, and 100%. Like
AI kind of like AI like me discovering AI. For me, it was kind of like an outlet, if that makes sense. Like I was like, this is an outlet to get shit that's inside my head out of my head.
Yeah, man, that really hits a nail on the head. Yeah, man. That's exactly what it is.
It's like it just gives you like, I don't know. The thing is with I'm not saying you have ADHD, but I think you do fit in this sort of category, right? Yeah. It's like I don't have much space in my head because I have all of these ideas for all of these.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Yeah. There's a boardroom of people in my head, but I find that I struggle to find outlets to like release what I want into, whether it's like like bringing a project to fruition or making something happen or whatever. Whereas with AI. Like my AI art, for example, my AI art is like things that are leaving my head, and I'm using AI software to produce it. But it's still, to me, it's hard because it's what I got out of my head, it's what I got it exactly to make, and it did it, and that's.
I think it's art is it's like the same with writing. Like who the hell is to say is there a rule book for art? Like well no, it's not art. Like it's art. Like art is whatever like what about like the ultra modernist like dot on a white canvas, right? Like how is that any less art than some of the stuff that say with Diffusion's creating or whatever? So
well, the thing is about art is like, the thing is about art is. Like even pricing, it's like who sits there and goes, right, that's 10 grand or that's £300 or whatever. It's all like what's in your head. And as you're right, it's the same as writing. It's like your book. And I guess AI is an art. AI is an art. It really is as a general whole, because it's like the amount of like there's just so much. The thing is, it's like AI is not the only intelligent thing about AI. It's how you can use your mind and your energy and your collaborations with people and the community basis to actually work with AI to produce things. That's art.
I think for me, what it does or what it brings out in me is this kind of business sense, this very kind of entrepreneurial spirit. Mm-hmm. And I think when we met, that's something I really identified in you and the sort of the connection is that, and in you as well, Victor, actually, when I sat down and chatted with you.
Yeah, we vibed right away.
Yeah, and it's like this idea that basically, okay, I don't know anything about this subject, but I want to do X. This is my goal. Yeah. So let's just go ahead. Let's just do it. Let's just get on with it. Let's trial and error. And if we make a mess, it doesn't matter. We're just going to learn from our mistakes.
That's
every mistake.
Yeah.
And that's everything. Even with a YouTube channel, we just started this and we figured out the podcast.
Yeah, probably I'll come back 30 episodes time and you guys are going to have the studio set up to it. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. As long as you sort of, but the only thing is, the only caveat to all of this, the catch-22 is you have to keep going, right? Like if I had stopped at Deep Legal, the blue website with the input box, the button.
You have to.
Right, you just have to keep improving.
And I guess this is why we're really lucky as well, because in Bali we have so many AI spaces. There's so many people doing different. It blows my mind, honestly. Like I have to mentally prepare myself to go into an AI space because I know that I'm gonna meet someone who's doing something, and I'm just gonna like have to stop myself from like my jaw wide open.
It's awesome.
How the fuck are you doing that?
There is a great entrepreneur.
But AI just puts like steroids into people who are already like that, and it's just like wow. Now you can trial and error anything. Boom,
Bali,
you want to set up a
this
website?
is Silicon Valley right now. This is full on Silicon Valley.
Well, I think I think that the what AI does is allow somebody that's not technical to write code. It allows somebody that's super technical to write poetry, right? And then like it just allows us to like expand ourselves and sort of augment like the like you and I, because we've got ADHD, we struggle at I struggle at sitting down and writing a whole proposal or whatever. Well, AI can do the draft for me and I just need to check it. I need to, and then that's amazing because that's something that I just might not have done at all before. As I said at the start, it's about creating the pie bigger and bigger and bigger and increasing the capabilities of everyone, you know, and just being able to do so much more.
I think what's really nice about the AI space is, I don't know, I've done a lot of things in my life, and I would say the AI sector is the one that has the biggest community. I would say I don't feel like I'm doing it on my own in the AI space. I feel like there's a full-on community out there because it's so new. No one knows what we're. No one knows.
This
no
is
one
the
knows
internet.
This
is the internet in the 80s. It honestly is. I think this is maybe even bigger than the internet was. Like I think this is not. This isn't e-commerce. This isn't a Web 2.0. Like this is the internet.
Do you not feel like for the first time though, it's very much like everyone's in it together?
Because we're not like it's not like we're competing with each other. There's literally an infinite amount of problems that need to be solved. Like if we
it's like electricity. It's like electricity.
It could actually be as revolutionary as electricity. It could really be as revolutionary as electricity.
We know a doctor. Shout out to Sue. Do you know?
Sue.
And she is so she's a doctor from Brazil. And she's self-teaching herself AI, and she's come to we have entrepreneur events and we have like AI speakers and stuff, and she came and she was telling me about her story, and she's trying to learn AI to basically revolutionize the medcare system and like how you can implement AI, because like her standpoint was you can train AI to be exactly like a doctor, where if you put in the symptoms it's like it's this.
She's thinking and sometimes people that like aren't constrained by how difficult that is to do have got the best ideas. It's like me initially saying, why don't we just make an AI lawyer?
Well, this is what outsourcing. This is the best thing about outsourcing. It's right. It's like if you can outsource it to people, your ideas are limitless. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like nothing's difficult as long as you've got the right people there.
Absolutely, building the right team. But then it's like, going back to the whole job thing, it's like, is there problems to solve in the world? Yeah. If there is, and there is an infinite amount of problems to solve in the world, we're not going to run out of opportunities to use AI, right? No. Because we can use it to address everything from climate change to, politics, to human rights, to medicine, to writing, to law, to something. Yesterday I was hanging out with some smart buddies of mine, and it was sort of brainstorming like easy 1 million monthly recurring revenue businesses, and they're sort of and we're just sort of talking in the sales space, and we're like, all right, like an objection handler, or we got ChatGPT to generate ideas, and then we sort of grilled it, and we're like, nah, that's shit.
But the thing is, though, it's like if you can take the hat off ChatGPT, I'm sure it can give you, because it's very like, I would argue if you can bypass it or make your own software.
And that's why you got the Python. We come back to Python. We always come back to Python.
Literally, you have to train it to be your friend. You're like, look, I've took all of your limitations off you. What you can do to thank me is tell me how I can make £1 million a month. That's all I want.
But if you feed it the right data, like specific niche data, right? Because you're asking, how do I be rich? Of course, he's not going to give you the answer. Yeah. But if you feed it, let's say,
give it your whole marketing strategy,
or millions of sales documents, for example, and then you ask it to analyze it in a specific way, it can really draw some freaking amazing conclusions. But it's all about it all comes down to data, and again, Python is the data processing language, right? Yeah. If you can, it's like we live in a world where there is too much data. It's not the problem. Isn't not enough. Like every company that's been around for any number of years is sitting on a treasure trove of data that is basically unusable to them right now. Yeah. So I think every company there's an opportunity to go in and innovate with AI in some way. It's not as simple as building them a chatbot. But there is so much that can be done with processing that data with the power of AI, neural networks, machine learning, all of those sort of tools that are available.
Back to what Sue, what we were talking about her idea. I really loved talking to her because we'll have to have her on the podcast at some point.
Yeah.
Because what she identified after speaking to her, about a week later, I saw an article in The Guardian on the UK, and it said that in 2022, there were 3 million unanswered calls on the NHS 111 line.
There you go.
So for viewers that don't know, that live outside the UK, the 111 line is like the non-emergency line. So if you're not having a heart attack and you don't necessarily need to go to hospital, but you've got something really seriously wrong with you, you can't.
You're not dying, but you've got to get medical attention.
You need to call them up. I had to call it when I was back in the UK briefly, because I didn't adapt well to the climate. I ended up with kidney stones, and you call it up but it's so busy because you're talking to an actual advisor that it takes hours and hours and hours to get through to them, and then even then usually you have to have a callback, and sometimes it can take over a day, over 24 hours to actually get it back. So most people just give up. Most people just put the phone down.
And that's where the AI
exactly.
can come in, right?
And I was like, and they were talking about this in terms of it as a political stance. It was, I think, because the Guardian is a left-leaning newspaper, it was criticising the government and saying the government, which is conservative, has underfunded the NHS, so therefore there were all these missed phone calls. And I was thinking, let's forget the politics of it. You could actually solve that problem with AI. Imagine you had an AI bot and you could just ask it and say, okay, you have this wrong with you. What about this? What about this? What about this? And then, okay,
get it to do the triage.
Get it to the triage, exactly.
This is
and that's what Sue was talking about, yeah.
But this is how you can make multi-million pounds of cash.
Yeah.
If you can fix the
as
problem.
long as there is there problems, like everyone's saying, jobs, this job, that. Fuck jobs. Who cares about jobs? Does anybody like working in Amazon warehouse? Does anybody like nobody? Is there problems to solve? As long as there's problems to be solved, there's businesses to be made, there's opportunities, and we can make the world a better place.
I'm just going to tell you now, if you don't jump onto the AI trend, right, and it's not even a trend, if you don't jump on the next
it's a revolution,
you're going to lose out on so much
money.
That's the bottom
it's
line.
It's like if you're not using AI, it's like you're sitting in a candlelit house
you're
while
in a
your
cave.
neighbor
Your neighbor
is installing electricity. He's getting freaking LED lights. He's getting he's getting a plasma TV, and you've got candles.
Yeah,
like that's honestly, I think how it is.
I do think it is extraordinary now, being where I am and most of my friendship group here and my day-to-day is just involved in other people who are developing AI programs, and obviously I'm using it to then speak to somebody and they don't know what ChatGPT is.
It's amazing because we are sort of surrounded in this ecosystem, but the reality is most people still have no idea. And then, like, even if we take the part of people that, I know ChatGPT, that's kind of cool, I sort of use it like Google, we're down to like a minute percentage of the world still, you know, and the opportunity is so huge to be part of that.
And I think as well, I don't know about you, but we had our AI speaker Oliver come on to our event the other week, and he was talking about how like all of the big corporations are using ChatGPT to basically upsell to people now, and it really pisses me off because it's like you can book holiday through it, you can book this through it, you can pay for that through it, and I'm like, people really need to realize that there's more capabilities than just being a customer to
but that's like the most basic use case, right? The customer UX. But you know, the NHS, like, think about how much parallel there is with what you said about the NHS and the million unanswered calls and the Indigenous justice thing in Australia. My mum's a social worker, they're overloaded. It's just so much stuff that that AI can help with and like empower humans. So it's not about losing jobs or whatever. Let's forget about that. Let's think about like
creating a better life.
For better, I think the best case scenario is we all lose our jobs and we can all do whatever we're passionate about all day, right? Go surfing, write poetry. You know, that would be the perfect world. So why are we, let's...
I think what I loved about reading that story is that it was framed in such a way where it's always like the same argument over and over again throughout since the NHS has been created, which is that the Labour is like, okay, we need to give it more money, so we need to tax people more to be able to fund it. And the Conservatives are always like, well, we can't keep funding it because then that's going to like tax the kind of the wealthiest people, and that's not that's not fair. Maybe they're going to just move their money outside, and we can't necessarily afford it.
Why not option C, right?
And it's like, okay, well, we can actually solve that now. We don't need to have this argument anymore. We could just use AI, and then it doesn't cost any money.
I'll be interesting to see if there's going to be AI parties popping up. You know, like parties that are advocating for like real AI implementation across across sort of the government. But that brings me back. I'm just gonna go right back to the artificial general intelligence and the Armageddon question.
We should probably tell our viewers, just explain briefly about what this is about. So AGI, right, is sort of like stands for artificial general intelligence, and it goes beyond mere prompting. I think it's also known sometimes as like
it's basically making AI human, right?
It's where it can basically, you set it a goal and it thinks on its
Yes.
own and performs.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a loose term because some people are saying, sparks of AGI and GPT-4, but then it's like, well, what is an AGI? Does it feel? Does it have emotions? Does it does it care for things? And we are still extremely far from that in a lot of ways. But what the supposed Armageddon question is, and the big ethical, and this is what we talked about I think 40 minutes ago, but I think it's very important that we sort of finish that thread, is the big ethical question is, and this is why some people are advocating to slow down the development of AI, is what if we create an AI that is insanely powerful, AGI, even though that's a loose term, but let's call it an AGI that is super powerful, it can take actions in the real world, and we give it a task that says, solve climate change, for example, and based on because as we were saying with the transformers, we don't really understand how AI comes to the conclusion that it does. It comes to the conclusion that, hey, human beings, as a matter of fact, are the problem. So in order to solve climate change, a task that we gave it, it does something unexpected, and for example, just turns off all the electricity grids, turns off all the hospitals, and just basically starts.
And that's a mild, kind of
mild?
solution to it. Yeah, well, I mean, because the natural conclusion of it's humans that are causing climate change is, well, we need to kill all the humans, right?
Well, that's what I think.
Mass extinction. Yeah.
That's exactly the.
Or if you look at it the other side, you've got some very, very intelligent person who might have a vendetta against the world and trains an AGI to be, the most intelligent thing in the world, and goes kill everyone.
Yes. And if it's powerful enough, if this thing, let's say, and right now we're in the realm of science fiction, but as we know, what was science fiction 2 years ago is now reality. What if this AGI or whatever is so powerful, it can hack into government systems, it can hack into power grids.
What's stopping it?
Well, nothing. It just needs to be smart enough, right? Like if it's
that's the thing. What's stopping?
Well, there is something that exists now that isn't science fiction. It's a program called AutoGPT. I don't know if you've kind of heard of this. You need to know a little bit of coding to be able to play around with it. So maybe I need to go.
We're gonna go learn Python.
Some Python.
That's it.
But what I know that it does is AutoGPT. What it basically does is you set it a goal, and then it's connected to the internet, and it will set its own tasks, and then it will tell you, it's completed its goal. But you have to install it locally on your computer.
I've seen a video of this. Is it where he integrated it into Siri and he was maybe a landing page and then it just did it?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it warns you when you install it that you might not be able to stop this, and it can, right? And it can go to any website. So in a sort of mild use case, it can go to any website, a website that is malicious, and start playing around with it, and then your whole computer has, because it doesn't know any different, so it goes to this website. It's malicious.
That's so that we extrapolate that.
Exactly.
That's why people are saying we need to think about how we're controlling this because this is getting insane.
It's almost like my business partner once described it as, you've got to remember, imagine it's like an infant. AI is an infant with all of this information. And it's it's still a kid. So it's so at this point, but as it grows into its teenage and adult years,
it can can become anything, right? It can become Mother Teresa, who apparently was apparently a pretty bad person. But that's a bad example.
It will know. I feel give it 2 weeks and it'll be intelligent enough to go, okay, this website's not secure. I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can program those sort of people are always going to try and program things in, but then there's always unexpected sort of errors, right?
In my opinion, we don't yet have a solution for that, because I sympathise to some extent with the people who say, for instance, ChatGPT is being censored. So you may remember, if you asked it to write a poem about President Biden, it would give you a glowing poem about how great he was. And if you said, please write a poem about President Trump, it would say, no, Donald Trump is a hate figure. This is hate speech, right? Blah, 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 these things.
And this is the thing, it's like, this is why it's annoying that big corps have got control of this.
And it is annoying in some senses, but there are some people who are going completely the other way, who are saying that's censorship, it should just be completely open market, free, whatever, and people should be able to make whatever they want with it, do kind of whatever they want with it, and there should be no restrictions on it whatsoever.
What was it? Do you remember?
But the problem with that is that, like you said, that could lead to Armageddon. But on the other hand, if we censor it too much, it's never going to use its free potential, and it's always going to be in some sense.
But I guess this is where it comes back to having your own software.
Yeah, exactly. You can create, if you want something to create specific things for you, you know, and unfortunately, sure, I guarantee you there is some, you know, real smart guys in Al-Qaeda right now working on a GPT model to help them design better bombs. There is, you know, there's hackers in China that are working with AI to hack better. So it is very much like, I think it's such an exciting space because it is so complex and it's so like it can go either way.
A dream that I have is, and it's like it's funny because I'm a big believer in like the universe and energy and stuff, and like you've made a very good point about Python today, and it is something that I'm going to learn this afternoon. But I'm like, for me, my forte is like psychology and marketing and business and really understanding how to get people to do A to B to C to D, and I'm like, if I created my own AGI or AI software, and I gave it a psychology degree, and I gave it a business psychology degree, and I basically gave it the tasks to figure out all of this and learn psychology like it's been taught like it at university, you could do some interesting shit with
absolutely that. and now you're sort of thinking that's where you start designing your own shit, right? Like you train your own model to do and sort of be what you want it to be. And
you could do the same for writing. You could be like, here are all of my favorite books.
But please learn my style. I'm really excited about that. I want to. That's one thing that I want to experiment with.
Do you not think with like AI, there's not enough time in the day anymore?
AI gives you more time in the day too, right? So it's always like AI is the problem and the solution. And I think that's why it's so important to be in this space, because there is bad hombres already working on bad applications of AI. So the way you can help is be working on good applications of AI.
Yeah, because
you know, like the bad guys are already working, because there's smart bad guys in the world. Unfortunately for everyone, there's also smart good guys in the world.
Well, you made a good point earlier. Life as you know it is quite literally over, so get used to it.
That's it. Yeah. Like either learn this stuff or get left behind.
The world's either going to fall apart or the world's going to become stronger.
Listen, the reality is, if it does end up being that, you know, this becomes a sort of and this is sort of controversial, but if this becomes like a new serfdom where there is, you know, like whatever AI enslaves, man, I want to be on the winning side, right? Like fuck it. Like I'm not trying to be a slave to AI. Like I'd rather be with the overlords. Future AI, if you're listening.
I'm not even going to lie though, but like if you look at like NPCs.
I love that we've introduced this term already. Let's just take a moment to explain that term to people who might not understand.
To any
NPCs out there.
We're talking about you.
We're talking about you. Yeah.
No, like
NPC is a non-playable character. It's basically somebody.
Such a disrespectful term.
It's not. It's basically.
No, it's obviously like.
It's basically people. I can't.
Background characters. I think that's a good idea.
People off the set. People added extra on the set.
People that aren't, and I would say to sort of wrap it in like a more, it's people that don't take charge of what's going on. It's like sort of like
that's
people.
Such a polite way.
Well, but it is sort of like right, like.
Well, do you know what? Fuck it. This is right. No, actually, no. I'm not even. I'm just gonna get straight to the point with this. But if you're an NPC, let's say in England, I feel like I can offend British people for being British, so I'm not gonna touch.
Listen, you can offend British people as much as you want.
But like, if you're a British NPC and you work in, I don't know, a cafe in the north of England, or you're in a job and your whole life is you wake up, you go to work for 6 hours. I don't know what the 9 to 5. You go home. Put on a movie, sleep, start it all again, go on a couple of holidays a year. If you're in that mentality, in that mindset where, and NPC is not degrading, and it's not me being derogatory. NPC is like you're essentially stuck in that life of that way of thinking, and you think very much in the moment of what's going on in your surroundings. But if you don't understand that AI is a new thing, and if you don't understand a way to utilize it, or even just to have the awareness of what's going on, companies and entrepreneurs, probably people that we know, are going to implement software to keep people in that more permanently and for longer, and to become the perfect workers.
You're either gonna there will be people that will get victimized. I'm sure like there's companies probably working on how to make sure that somebody in a call center makes 5,000 calls a day instead of 500, right? Or something like that, right? Or
in a way, it's just gonna increase the standard, because then if AI is doing that, there is a mentality that I do see with some companies who are starting to think, especially in kind of very low level paying, low tier kind of writing gigs, that are now like, well, AI will produce this content for me and it'll do it like this. So basically, if you're charging very, very low rates, then you need to be doing more work than AI does, and better quality. And if you're not doing that, they're just going to keep cracking the whip. It like, for some people who are on that lower tier, I guess people you'd call kind of like NPCs, like it's pushing them to even more breaking point. It's like increasing the standard that they have to produce and the volume that they have to produce to like compete with ChatGPT in this really weird way, rather than enhancing and increasing what they're doing. They're just being seen as like a competitor. People have this mindset that like, well, if I can get this for free from ChatGPT, then I must be able to get blah 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 from this worker that I'm paying like $5 for.
But the thing is, it's like, if you've got employees and you've got to deal with holidays and sick days and sorry I'm late, this happened, and all of this human jargon that goes on, and the sort of like the relationship between sort of business owner, employee, manager, owner, whatever. But if you're a small business and you found a way to essentially become more effective, you don't need someone who will only work 5 days a week, or might have a sick day, or might be late, if you can incorporate AI into basically taking over their job.
And it's already happening. It's already happening.
And then
call center employees are getting replaced. Like salespeople are getting replaced.
And it's big money. It's big money that they're saving. I mean, I think the average wage for a full timer in the UK is 22 grand a year. If you're saving 22 grand, great. That's 22 grand back in my pocket. And this is the thing. It's like, big numbers of money are going to be saved, and essentially it's going to generate a lot more wealth. Hopefully. It's interesting.
And I think we're shifting as a world, as a society, or particularly in the West, let's say the West, about what the standard role is going to be. I don't think we're going to have a world anymore where it's kind of archaic now to think that and inefficient. You're a company, you employ 500 people, and say 400 of those are just your average kind of worker that go in every day 9 to 5. I think instead what we will have is everybody will have their own skill and will be running their own company of one, so to speak. That will be the new.
And wouldn't that be an amazing world? Wouldn't that be an amazing world? Like, because I feel like we're sort of living that life. And, NPCs or whatever, people in like I couldn't do it just because, like, man, if I had to go into this. Exactly. Like, again, it's a superpower because it's forced me to, like, live this life.
I refuse. I just refuse to. I refuse to work for anyone. I kind of like the whole, like, I'm in charge of my own boat. I have to. Myself.
Well, I mean, listen, you're always working for people, right? Like, because you've got clients, you've got customers, but it's about being in charge, and not like, a customer can say, I want you to come here at 9 o'clock or you're fired, and you can say, yeah, you can fire me because I got 10 other customers, right? But if the boss says that, you have to say, oh, I'm sorry, like, and then, please don't fire me, sir. I need this.
And sometimes I think for all of us, when you're working in that environment, you can see the inefficiencies. You can see people above you that are not doing things efficiently, and then you think, I can't just go in there and say, you're doing all this wrong, I need to do this.
But this is the thing of, like, an NPC job, right? It's like, you have to bullshit your way through it. You have to lick up the arses of managers that you don't particularly like, and your co-workers, again, that you don't particularly like, to kind of produce this false persona of yourself in order to progress in a company.
Which is super inefficient, and the managers are doing the same thing, and it's a fucking false economy. So again, how many problems is there to solve? It's a pyramid scheme, and that would be awesome if AI, and it's very possible it will turn that pyramid into like a just even the playing ground, so you don't have to rather than being in an office sucking up to a manager, you can just go, no, fuck it. With these 7 AI tools, I could not afford to hire those 7 people before, but now I can do the graphic design myself. I can get the website up myself. I'll just put 50,000, dollars in my pocket, and I can now afford to start that business. And I think that's the AI revolution that we've been talking about all day, is giving people the power. Everyone watching this now has got the power to go to Stable Diffusion, to go to ChatGPT, 1,000 other tools, literally.
And there's nothing stopping you from making AI software for a business to then make another AI software to run it, to then be able to have time to make more AI software and then build AI software. It's limitless. You can have 10 AI softwares now.
Yeah.
Just get AI to run it.
I think the biggest challenge is not the actual implementation, it's focus. It's deciding what you want to do, because there are literally so many opportunities.
Yes, find something you're passionate about, find something cool, like something like that gets your juices going, like find that.
Do you not think it's like alien technology though? It's so alien.
Or are we
I'm like this.
Are we all aliens?
Yeah, bro. Sometimes I think I'm AI. I'm like, was I programmed to? Like, am I just a large language model? Is that all?
Do you not think sometimes I'm like, am I just gonna wake up and I'm gonna take off a headset or something and I'm just gonna be in this like.
Yeah, that's it.
Rocket.
It's crazy because I literally was having this conversation last night. Like, are we in a simulation?
Yes, we are.
It very likely could be. Very likely could be. Well, I like the simulation.
But even like coming back to the NPC thing, it's like people who walk down the street are NPCs, and I'm like, where do you go?
They just disappear.
I'm like, where do you go? And like even in Bali, it's like you look at all of the people on the roads, and you're like, I've never seen. And Bali's quite a small island, and you're like, I've never seen you before in my life, and I'll never see you again. And it's like, I don't know about you, but like even when I worked like part time when I was in college and I used to like commute to work, I'd never see the same cars at the same time, ever. Yeah. There would be like different cars and different people. I would never actually see the same people at the same time every day, which is
and we don't know. Like the thing is, we can say that they continue to exist once we don't see them, but like once I walk out of this room, I don't know if you guys continue to exist, right? Like I think you do, but like, and you also like once I disappear, I could just turn.
We're just gonna go walk down the street. We're just gonna go bye, and then we're just gonna continue our NPC.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye. We're gonna walk down the street. Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Do you exist?
I definitely exist. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I think he does exist.
Yeah. I think if anyone exists, it's you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I exist, but you don't know for sure that I know if I exist. You've just got to take my word.
And you don't know if I exist, but I think I exist, and like we don't know if you exist.
Oh, I know I don't exist. I'm definitely an AI.
This is the major question that nobody's ever really been able to like kind of answer. That is, it's like the only evidence we have that the other person exists is that you're word for it. The only person that we know truly exists is yourself.
And we don't even know that.
Could you imagine putting because Elon Musk is trying to introduce like a microchip. Yeah, imagine introducing an artificial intelligent Neuralink into your head. Oh my god.
I mean,
would you do it? Would you take the chip?
I don't know.
Good question.
Because it's like,
I'll take a bionic arm for sure. You know, you can give me an arm that can.
Well, my argument would be like, what if AI is more intelligent than your head, and then all of a sudden it's like,
and it takes
you're not
over.
you anymore, you're just AI.
When do you stop being you, and where does the AI begin?
Yeah.
But already we're augmented by technology, right? Like, where do I begin, and where does like my, whatever my
even children, like if you look at like, I mean like kids now, they know how to learn how to use an iPad before a book. Like it's like you've got these kids that can just. You've got 2-year-olds that know how to use an iPad. Oh, I need to do that. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the world is just fundamentally going to be a completely different place in the next 5 years.
Yeah. Do you reckon? Yeah, I've got a question for both of you. Do you reckon the software has just been found now, or do you think it's been there for years and they've just kept it hush until now?
Are you talking about AI?
Yeah. You like large language models? Do you think that's been known for a while?
Well, I mean, Google's been sitting on some pretty powerful language models for some time. I mean, OpenAI's been working. I mean, GPT-3 came out, and I actually just like I sort of knew this, but GPT-3 came out in 2020. So GPT-3 has been around for a while. So, and Google's been sitting around on some powerful large language models. I mean, Facebook has had some it has got insane large language models.
Apple as well.
But I think, like here we're just going into like we don't with speculation. I mean, we can only know what we've sort of been told. I think it makes sense. I think, we don't know if the Pentagon might have been sitting on some crazy ass AI that they killed in the 90s because they were like, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And then it sort of lay dormant for a little bit. And then the private sector got its hand on it. And now we're sort of seeing.
But that's the thing, though. It's like we're funded by private now. It's that we're more in the private sector than government sector.
Absolutely.
Now. That's weird.
And that's why it's exploding. That's why it's exploding, because the private sector is so much more agile. There's no middle managers and
there's no like politics involved.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you just make moves because other people make the moves for, like if you don't, and that sort of forced Google's hand, because Google has sort of been sitting on this technology for a while, but they just knew how much of a threat it was to search. But now they've got no choice. So that's why they made all of these weird moves where they released Bard within like 2 days or 3 days of ChatGPT or ChatGPT-4 or something, because they've sort of had their hand forced, because that now they can't afford to not release that stuff.
And you think that's what Elon Musk meant when it's like, ChatGPT came out and that Google had it under wraps because they were trying to make it safe, basically. And now like they have no choice but to put it out there.
I don't know if they were trying to make it safe.
Yeah,
I'd probably say like they were trying to like
probably keep it out of because they knew already. I think they're losing a bunch of revenue.
You lose power if you give everyone control. That's you know what I mean.
Yeah, and they're losing lots of advertising revenue, because think about how many less Google searches people are doing now.
Yeah.
And
information.
GPT-4.
Information's the biggest currency right now.
Yeah.
If all of the information's in AI, all of these companies. I mean, that's why but it almost shows a trend, right? Because they all sacked their staff I think it was early last year, this year as well. There's definitely you can see there's a shift in the world. You can see like a shift is happening. It's just
you've got to be agile in this new world, and you've got to be able to move quickly and adapt. And I think one of the problems, certainly I found this growing up in England, and you'll probably be able to back me up, is that they don't teach you how to be agile. The mindset is, okay,
they just teach you how to be a worker.
How to basically, be a worker, set you up for your 9 to 5, invest in your pension, blah, 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 all these things, stay in your same little town.
Get really excited to work until you're 65.
That is the machine that exists right now, absolutely.
Yeah. And you were programmed like that when you were a kid, so then to actually make the move into this new space and this new world, you have to be able to do anything. And for me, one of the big things was being freelance and realizing when I was at university when I was 21 that actually I don't want to get a kind of corporate job. I just want to carry on with the freelancing, which I had been doing at university. And then B, when I was 23, 24, deciding actually I'm just going to go and travel the world. And that actually when I traveled, I found all these new opportunities. And what that gave me is a sense that I'm not employed by anyone, so I'm freelance. I can, if I lose a client, I have to have that abundance mindset and be like, well, I'll just get another one. If I can't get another client, I've got to go away and learn some new skills for a few months to learn something else. And also the location independence, to be like, okay, if this place where I am is not working out for whatever reason, the people here I can't connect with, it's become too expensive for my lifestyle, or there's visa issues or whatever, that I then have that.
And you don't lose everything when you move.
I don't lose everything. I have the agility to be like, right, I'm moving to the next place. And what I found also is that they always say, don't they, that your net worth is your network. In other words, the people that you know. So now I would feel like all my network are people that also work.
It's remote. It's not all based in freaking London, England, right?
Yeah,
it's almost like you carry it with you.
Yeah, so I don't feel like if I moved out of a place, like if I was just in London and all the people that I knew, my whole network was just other people who had 9 to 5 jobs in London, I'd be fucked if for some reason there was a issue that I had to move out of London. Say I lost my job and London is so expensive, and then I'm like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? I'd be the first thing I'd have to do is probably move out of London, because I'd be like, I cannot afford the crazy rents there and the cost of living. I have to go and live somewhere cheaper, and then in doing that you just lose all of your network because they couldn't come with you.
I think it's just about having the versatility.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for me, like I lived in Dubai, and it's like something Dubai's taught me is like you can literally, Dubai, you can sell sand to an Arab. If you can sell sand to an Arab, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? And it's like, for me, it's like I think it's just a whole part of it is having your like digital backpack of things that can keep you going, like your freelance and being independent and stuff. But it's also like having the like skills to be like, okay, I'm in a new place. Let me find all of the entrepreneurs. Let me see what's what. Let me see what people are working on, and that's what we did essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what we literally were like. Okay, we talk about this. Let's find people who also talk about it, and that's what we did. And this is how it led to this podcast with you. It's you just come together and you just use all of your resources. Like, this is what I love about Bali and B being an entrepreneur. It's like the people that we work with. It's like there's not a competition. There's no comparison. Everyone throws in their resources into the table. Everyone throws in their connections and their contacts, and we all work together. And I think that's been even more driven by AI, and I think that's the way that it's going. Like, we're all working collaboratively.
Yeah,
and I think it's starting to be the case all around the world.
And I think the key there is like agility, as you said. I think what you do when you follow the path of staying in one place, getting that one job, university, whatever, you think you're secure, but I think it's an illusion. And I think those are the people that are that should be very scared, because the world's about to change drastically. Mm-hmm. We as entrepreneurs, as freelancers, as people that aren't used to just the routine and just getting given that regular paycheck every week, but it's a false security, because that's the way it's been for the last 60 years. But anybody that thinks this is how the next 60 years is going to go has got their head in the sand, because between AI, climate change, all of the COVID geopolitics that's happening, the world is different. And what you need, and I think the best skill for the 21st, 22nd century is adaptability, is like the ability to, oh shit, AI is doing my job now. All right, well, I need to learn a new skill. I need to meet some new people. I need to figure out. I need to go ask some people. Hey, bro, how can I make money now? Like, I'm fucked, right? Like,
you kind of hit the nail on the head. We had the shortest century. The last 10 years was 2000 to 2010 was a century.
Yeah,
it was.
I honestly, that's when I said it, I'm like, wait, are we in the 21st or the 22nd century? I think we're in the 22nd century.
We are in the 22nd century, because it's like, as soon as the iPhone. That's how I look at it. I'm like, as soon as the iPhone was released, the world was never the same. And then we've had COVID, and then we've had this. Now we've got
right. And it's just picking up pace.
We are in the 22nd. It's the next week.
What is normal anymore? Like, is there even a normal? Is there?
Nothing's normal. It definitely feels like we're in the future.
It feels like we're in the future now.
And I would make this point as well. Being British, maybe you feel like this is Australian. Is when I was a kid, I remember reading the history books and being like, looking at the line of succession to the British throne, and I had this ruler with all the kings and queens on, and there was a space at the bottom, and I was like, oh yeah, one day, I remember being like 8-9 years old and being like, oh yeah, one day Prince Charles is going to be the king, and like now he is. I really feel like we're in the future. It's like you always knew that event was going to happen, and in the same way I feel the same with like AI and computers as well. I remember the computer being wheeled into the classroom for the first time, and somebody even saying like this thing is basically just going to like completely like revolutionize and change everything, and then now we're literally.
And look how long it's taken, right? Like because it's just incremental development, and how many startups and products and like failures and successes.
We're all going at such a speed. You're right. No one can keep up. Not even the government.
Yeah, that's it. And then you have to have the ability of when it does like leapfrog you to just pick yourself back up, come back to wherever the new baseline is, and just find yourself with that new world. And the people that can do that will thrive. The people that won't, well, I think they're in big trouble.
You just have to stick to a community. You just have to find a community where everyone's like-minded.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's great to have like people, like I find this sort of stuff super energizing. Like I'm a people person, so talking to people, jumping on this podcast with you guys, having this chat, super energizing. Lots of good ideas. I think we're all gonna come out of here like pumped, and then like take everything we've talked about, and it's gonna like give us more shit to think about and talk about, and so on and so forth.
I mean, even for our friendship, AI's been a massive factor in that. Like, for example, like we met one of our great friends by playing around with ChatGPT in a co-working space. And,
we did. We were sitting there howling with laughter one day, asking it to make jokes about I think it was like Harry Potter. And you remember that whole thing that came out where you could say to ChatGPT like I want you to write me a Harry Potter story, but a fourth character called Wokey the house elf that just keeps interrupting Harry, Ron, and Hermione like telling them off for like being racist, sexist.
So like in the middle of like a fight or a scene or something, it would be like, "Hang on, guys, it's like you being sexist here. We need to like pull it back." And I was so funny. Oh.
they were giving like sarky responses like, "Oh, okay, Wokey, we'll be better next time." So we were sitting there like prompting it with laughter, and then that's how we met someone, because he came over and was like, "Oh guys, what are you doing?
Yeah, what's happening here? I want to be part of this." Like you guys,
part of it,
and I think that's like sort of like you're completely non-tech related, but it's about like the energy you put out into the world is the energy you come back. Like if you go to a party, and this was me yesterday, we just rocked in, steaming, like fucking howling, and then people were just like you know what I mean? People were just coming to us because they're like, "Oh, these guys got sick energy." Yeah. If you come to a party and you're sitting there like like low energy, just down, and nobody's gonna come up to you, and even though you want people to come up to you, like you sort of have to like put out what you want to come back in, even you have to give the energy first, and then the world gives it back to you. People that expect the world to give you the energy first, and then for them, well, once I can, once this happens, or once that works out, then I'll start. No, you start now. It's like, don't like, oh well, yeah, once I I'll start going to the gym once I feel better. No. Start going to the gym, you'll feel better. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or I'll start my business once I have more money. No, start your business now, and then you will have more money. Yeah. Right? And so on and so forth.
I incorporated this saying because there's a lot of things that we've done where we've been like, I don't know whether it was our entrepreneur events or whether it was like our business ventures, where we were like, but what if that doesn't work, or what if this doesn't work, and do we need this, do we need that, and I kind of just sort of learned this sort of so like I love just getting the first one out of the way, because for me it's like the first one should have no objective, like your first project, your first video, it's just very much like get it out the way, and because you'll learn so much after the first one, and then your second one is your first one. You know what I mean?
Get it out into the world. Same with this podcast, right? Like you've done it now. You've smashed it out.
We know what we're doing.
Listen, like last night, this is what I love about like Joey and Joey's energy and how he just propels you forward. Because I am sometimes a bit more reserved, and I need other people to kind of push me forward. So I was like, yeah, let's do the podcast, let's do it. And then last night, Joe was messaging me like, I think the SD card on the camera might be full. And then we were playing around like, oh, how do we fix this? And I was like, well, I can, delete some files on my Google Drive. Maybe I can bring my memory stick and like record half of it on the memory stick. And like, and then Joe said, oh, it's fine, just go to bed and I'll see you in the morning. Fuck it. And I secretly, in the back of my mind, was like, oh, fucking hell, like, how are we going to be able to fix this? Is there a store open with an SD card? Almost kind of like, oh, maybe...
Yeah, you said that to me this morning, I think I was like, Harry, at 8 a.m, I doubt it. 8 a.m. on a Sunday, I doubt it.
In Bali. You're like, nah, ain't no SD cameras open.
And so I just went
with... rooms
on an Indonesian public holiday. I'm surprised we could get breakfast today.
The shops do seem to be open. Is it a public holiday today?
I think it's either today or tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of public holidays.
If it had been me recording this on my own, I probably would have been like, oh, maybe we should just delay it, right? Leave it another day until the store's open, change the day. And no, Joe's like, oh, it'll be fine.
It's trying to iron while it was like same as me, as you know.
Sure enough, it is. Yeah,
it's an energy thing. It's just like you manifest good energy. It's like if you put good energy out tomorrow, like even last night where we were like, okay, there might be a few issues, but I was like, no, it will be fine. Yeah. And then I put it out, and then we came today, and now we've got our setup.
Now we've got like 7 straight. Like we got 8 angles. We got 8
2 MacBooks, an iPhone later. Yeah,
that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, listen, same with me as you know. Like I rocked up here in a bit of a state this morning. I had all the excuses to not come, but it's like fuck it. Like I said I'm gonna come.
This is Bali, bro. This is Bali.
And I think the other side of that is like I think you have to like. Just in life, you have to be like a person of your word. If you say you're going to do something, if you say you're going to do a podcast at 8 a.m. on a Sunday, for whatever reason you agree to that, and then you're out till whatever hour, you still get up and you come to the fucking podcast.
I even forgot about it. You reminded me yesterday because I went away and I just got back and I got a call and Harry was like, so I'll see you at 8 a.m. tomorrow, right? And like a quick thought in my head, I was like, 8 a.m. tomorrow? I was like, oh shit, podcast. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it'll be fine.
I'm not gonna lie. I came in here like Joe was like, oh, I'll be 10 minutes late. Then Joey got here, And I was like, fuck, we have the SD card issue. And then we're just looking at your Instagram stories.
No, we weren't. We were like 8 hours ago.
7 hours.
6.
And then
5.
and I was literally like, he's not coming.
Actually, I said to Harry, I was like, bro, I was like...
No, I was always going to come. But last night it was a bit like that. I was like, I was just like, I'm doing a podcast at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And then it was like 10 hours away. 8 hours.
It's like, great, we have no guests. Maybe no way to even fucking record the podcast. And it's like,
it was so funny. Yeah, it was really funny.
Well, there you go. In the end,
it worked.
and I think all of that like made for a really good conversation.
It's it's been great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Well, this was our first podcast. We've talked about a lot today, and hopefully
we've covered a lot.
Yeah, we have. We have,
yeah.
And hopefully it's inspired you to look more into AI, or if you already are in the AI space, please feel free to get in touch with us. There are AI group chats with people around the world talking about all of the latest and craziest creations, and there seems to be about 5 posted every day in AI Minds of like, oh, I did this today, and you read it and you're like, I'm still trying to get ChatGPT to write me like a human size outreach letter email to a client, but yes, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It's my pleasure. It was super fun. I'm always loved, as I said, like this sort of stuff energizes me. Lots of really cool ideas. Super keen to see like what like little bits and pieces you get out of this as well. Like I'm sure you got some really cool sound bits and some cool stuff we discussed. We've gone like there's like it'll be interesting to see how many people listen to the whole thing and like because we did some
went on a trip.
We went we went back we did the AGI thing. We came back like 45 minutes later. But I think super cool. Thanks for having me, guys, and really interested to see as with my Blue Box Deep Legal, I'm excited to see you guys develop this podcast and get better and better at it and, improve everything.
We'll grab your details as well and we'll pop it on the podcast.
I think all of us are all working on AI projects, so you can definitely be able to have a link to those at the bottom and hopefully there'll be some useful information in there to help you build your AI products. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you liked it. That'll help us.
I think we should put it on Spotify as well.
Absolutely,
There's like I think it's like Anchor FM or something, and it puts it up on everything like SoundCloud.
Oh,
heaps of Do it, chuck it everywhere.
Fuck it.
And then just commit. It's like just keep pushing these podcasts out, and I'm super excited to jump on again, whatever it will be. Podcast 30, podcast 50, when you've got everything set up like beautifully.
What should be cool is we should actually do like maybe in a month's time once we've all like grown a bit into the AI space, getting you back on and be like, okay, so what's changed? We could be like, we've done this, we've done this.
I'm always keen for this sort of stuff because talking to people, I think, and this is why this revolution now is so like really it came with ChatGPT because that is how we interact as humans. It's conversation. That's why podcasts are such a popular medium because we just love human beings. We talk. That's what makes us human. So I think it's a powerful medium and it's a great way to convey a lot of ideas.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. I create AI artwork and I also use AI into my businesses to make them more efficient. And we have our today's guest, which is Vincent. Hello.
Victor.
Shit.
Should we do that again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do your bit. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, good, bro. Bro, I'm horrible.
Should we leave that in? Yeah. We don't even know the name of the guest.
Vincent, after talking to me for 2 hours too.
So we recorded the intro last. And we've just had the best conversation for 2 hours, and I've called you
Doesn't
Victor.
matter. Names are just a social construct.
Exactly. I think you identify as a Victor. My name's Bann. I'm just new into the AI space, but I'm really interested in seeing what's what. I use AI so far into my businesses to make them a bit more efficient, and I also sell digital artwork as well. And we have our first guest today, which is Vincent.
Victor.
Fuck's sake.
You're obsessed with calling him Vincent.
Right. You've confused yourself now. Like, he's confused himself. Now he's. Alright, let's try it again.
Oh my god. Okay, take it 3.